Hello everyone, Ramya, Assistant Professor of CSE Department from Rohini College of Engineering and Technology, subject code CS8792, Cryptography and Network Security, Unit 1, Topic, Model of Network Security. Model of network security. Here a message is to be transferred from one party to another across some sort of internet. The two parties who are the principals in his transaction must cooperate for the exchange to take place. That means a logical information channel is established by defining a route through the internet from source to destination and by the cooperative use of communication protocols, for example TCP or IP, by the two principals. Here it shows the security aspects come into play when it is necessary or desirable to protect the information transmission from one opponent who may represent a threat to confidentiality, authenticity, and so on. Here all the techniques for providing security having two components. The first one is a security related transformation on the information to be sent. For example, the encryption of the message which scrambles the message so that it is unreadable by the opponent, and the addition of a code based on the contents of the message. The next one is some secret information shared by the two principals. That means it is hoped to the opponent. For the example, the encryption key used in conjunction with the transformation to scramble with the message before transmission and unscramble it on reception. That means a party may be needed to achieve secure transmission. A third party may be responsible for distributing the secret information to the two principals while keeping it from an opponent. Here we have some of the models, that is a trusted third party may be needed to arbitrate disputes between the two principals concerning the authenticity of a message transmission. Design an algorithm for performing the security related transformation. The algorithm should be such an opponent cannot defeat its purpose. Generate the secret information to be used with the algorithm. Develop methods for the distribution and sharing of the secret information. Specify a protocol to be used by the two principals that makes use of the security algorithm and the secret information to achieve a particular security service. Next, we are going to see some network access security model. That means a model of the other situations it is to reflect a concern for protecting an information system from unwanted access. The hacker can be someone who with no malign intent simply gets satisfaction from breaking and entering a computer system, or the intruder can be a disgruntled employee who wishes to do damage, or a criminal who seeks to exploit computer assets for financial gain. For example, here we have two kinds of threats, that means information access threats and service access threats. Next, we are going to see the OSS security architecture. It is the security needs of an organization and to evaluate and choose various security products and policies. The manager responsible for security needs some systematic way of defining the requirements for security and characterizing the approach to satisfying those requirements. It is difficult enough in a centralized data processing environment with use of local and wide area network. Here the problems are compounded ITU-T3 recommendation X.800 security architecture for OSA. That means using this architecture was developed as an international standard. Computer and communication vendors have developed security features for their products and services that relate to this structured definition of services and mechanisms. Next, we are going to see some of the attacks that focuses on OSS security architecture. The first one is a security attack. That means it comprises the security of information owned by an organization. Security mechanism means it is designed to detect, prevent, or recover from a security attack. Next is security service. That means a processing or communication service that enhances the security of the data processing systems. Then the information transforms of an organization. Here the services are intended to counter security attacks and they may use of one or more security mechanisms to provide the service. Next, we are going to see some of the attacks that is used in both X.100 and RFC 2828 is in terms of passive attacks and active attacks. Here in this, a passive attack attempts to learn or make use of information from the system but does not affect system resources. Next, we are going to see the passive attack. It is the nature of eavesdropping or a monitoring of transmissions. The goal of the opponent is to obtain information that is being transmitted. Here the release of message sentence means here telephone conversation is an electronic mail message and a transfer file may contain sensitive or confidential information. Next one is your traffic analysis. Suppose we had a way of masking the contents of messages or other information traffic so that opponents, even if they captured the message, could not extract the information from the message. Here the common technique for masking content is encryption. If we had encryption protection in place, an opponent might still be able to observe the pattern of these messages. The opponent could determine the location and identify of communicating hostess and could observe the frequency and length of messages being exchanged. Then here we have the active attacks involves some modifications of the data stream or the creation of a false stream, and it can be subdivided into 4 categories, that is masquerade, replay, modification of messages and denial of service. Masquerade means it takes place when one entity pretends to be a different entity. A masquerade attack usually includes one of the other forms of active attack. That means, for example, authentication sequences can be captured and replayed after a valid authentication sequence has been take place. The next one is relay. It involves the passive capture of a data unit and its subsequent retransmission to produce an unauthorized effect. Next one is this diagram, which shows the modification of message. That means the some portion of a legitimate message is altered or that message are delayed or reordered to produce an unauthorized effect. That means for example, a message meaning allow John Smith to read confidential file account means is modified to allow Fred Brown to read confidential file accounts. The next one is the denial of service. It prevents or inhibits the normal use or management of communication facilities. This type of attack may have a specific target. For example, an entity may suppress all messages directed to a particular destination. Thank you.